Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome aboard the Speed Twin, a bike that I just don't get a chance to ride enough. So I thought I'd come out today, do a little bit of vloggage on the Speed Twin, and talk a bit about what it's like riding in summer, because it's a particularly hot day today. So I thought I'd have a bit of a chat to you about my approach to riding in hot weather, and also maybe find out a bit more about what you do in hot weather too, and just a general chit chat. So stick around, stay tuned, I'll speak to you after the intro. Okay, so welcome to beautiful Great Bissington. I'm in the very posh bit of Great Bissington at the moment. This is the most inaptly named road in the town, called Grimm's Hill, and it is anything but grim, I can tell you. This is just full of multi-million-pound houses and very rich people. It's a beautiful place. I passed all the good houses, but you get the sort of general impression as you look down here. It is actually a private road. I'm probably not meant to come down here. Before anyone says, no, I don't live down here, I wish I did. Anyway, I just like to ride down there and make myself feel bad about myself. Anyway, what an absolutely corking day it is. On a previous vlog, I said what a rubbish summer we've been having here in Blighty. And then suddenly things turn and we've had some absolutely cracking weather of late. I'm recording this in mid-July, even though I know you're going to be watching it in August. Let's put my little visory thing down. And it's a Sunday. In fact, it's Sunday the 17th of July, and today it's forecast here to be, I think, 33 degrees centigrade, which is flipping hot for Blighty. And the thing is, tomorrow it's forecast to potentially be 40 degrees centigrade, and that is the first time that has ever happened here in Blighty. We've never had 40 degrees centigrade here before. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's a bit of a bummer actually, because I was due to be recording my next biker scram with Jeff and Dan, but we decided it was just too hot to go out and ride in that sort of temperature. Now I know people watching in Australia say 40 degrees isn't hot, but trust me, we don't know how to cope with that sort of weather here in Blighty. And in fact, the Met Office, which is our authority that kind of looks after weather forecasts, that sort of thing, has said that there's risk to life, and issued their first ever red extreme heat warning, and they're telling people basically not to go outside unless they absolutely have to. So I think us going out and riding for a nice little lunch out is probably not the wise thing to do. So anyway, there will be another biker scran along. We've rescheduled it for a later date, so stick around and stay tuned for that if you like the old biker scran vids. So as I had a unexpected slot in the diary, so to speak, I thought I'd better come out and record a vlog to fill the space where the biker scram would have been. Anyway, it does give me an excellent opportunity to talk about riding in summer, and also, as I often do on these vlogs, to try out some new kit. So this camera here that I'm struggling with positioning, I haven't quite done it up tight enough. This is a new GoPro 10 that I bought, and a new Max lens mod upgrade thing, which gives you the extra wide angle. And I bought that because I was having trouble with my GoPro 9 that I used to use as my sort of face-facing camera. For some reason it started turning itself on for no good reason, and I would charge batteries up and stuff the night before I was due to go out and ride, and I'd come to use the camera and find that the battery was flat. And I basically found out on a recent trip that what the camera was doing was, after half an hour or so, it would just turn itself on, leave itself on until the battery ran out, and that's why I was getting so many dead batteries. Luckily the camera bleeps when it turns itself on, and me and Mrs. Fly were away in a hotel, and I heard the camera bleeping at night. I thought, what's going on? Went and found the camera, and it was red hot, and it had basically just been running and had run the battery out. So as I've got some absolutely epic tours coming up, of which more later, not in this video, but I'll tell you more about them later on in the next few weeks, I thought I'd better get that sorted, because these are sort of once in a lifetime trips that I've got coming up. I could not afford to have a camera that I couldn't rely on. It's really odd, because that GoPro 9 has been pretty reliable actually, and other than that, it did everything that I wanted it to do. So having to buy another GoPro 10 was a bit of a pain, because they're like, I don't know, 400 or 500 quid each time. Anyway, I've now got mashing GoPro 10s on the helmet and on the bike, which means I can standardise on batteries and everything else, so it's not that bad. And of course I'm now filming everything in 4K, and that's all good. So, and things like the user interface on the camera are slightly better, and all that stuff. Anyway, so that's enough about GoPros. You probably don't care about that anyway. I did want to talk to you about kit. I mean, it is very hot at the moment. There's no outside air temperature, or rather air temperature gauge on the Speed Twin, at least not that I've found. So I'm guessing, but I would say at the moment, I'm recording this about lunchtime, it feels to me about 28, 29 degrees centigrade, something like that. Pretty warm, but on the bike in the kit I'm wearing, I feel absolutely great. Bit of airflow over these mesh jackets, brilliant. I've got a couple of these mesh jackets. I've got a rucker one, and I've got this one, which is from a company called Bering, B-E-R-I-N-G. And it depends really how hot I think it's going to get, but if I think it's going to get extremely hot, like at the moment, then the Bering one is my favourite, because it's got slightly wider mesh and the airflow is better through it than the rucker one. But the rucker one is great if you're going on tour, say, and you don't quite know how hot it's going to be. If it's not going to be extremely hot, then that one's probably more useful than this. Crikey, this is a bumpy old road. This is going to be one of those vlogs where I don't really know where I'm going. I'm just heading somewhere that I haven't been for a while. Let's go down this way. This is what I call the Pedner Loop, which is quite near Chesham. It's basically back roads. They're not particularly amazing roads, but they're great roads for riding bikes like this on. For some reason I haven't been down here for absolutely ages. There's this amazing little courtyard here that I'm coming up to, with some sort of flats, I assume they are, and houses in here. Check a look at this, it's a lovely spot. How nice is this? And I know at least a couple of years ago one of my subscribers lived in there, because he sent me a note saying that I'd ridden through his courtyard. So if you're still watching, sir, hello to you. Lovely house. I think he was an FJR rider, if I remember rightly. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, the Bering jacket, I think it looks pretty good, it fits well, and the airflow through this is absolutely brilliant. I'll do one of my little fashiony segment things in a minute. I'll get off the bike and I'll actually show you it in more detail. The other thing I love about this jacket is it's unusually it's CE rated for both protection and also the armour in it as well, and that's quite unusual for these mesh jackets. Often it's one or the other. It's either the armour or it's the sort of slide protection and abrasion protection, but this one is actually CE rated for both, so it's, even though it's a mesh jacket, it's still quite safe. And not only that, it's an excellent price. I sound like a salesman. I'm not trying to sell it to you, I'm just saying that this is a great mesh jacket. It's less than 200 quid for all that, so I think that's an excellent price. I will put links below to biker heads where you can find your local stockist as well. Anyway, I'll show you in more detail when I get off the bike. So I mentioned I was just checking out this this forward-facing camera. Interestingly, look, the screen at the front has faded out to black and gone black, and I've got this set so that the front screen never goes black, so I don't quite know what's going on there. And that means, of course, I can't see the view that you've got of me now, so as the camera wobbles around and moves, you might get a funny view, if indeed it's still recording. I don't know, I'll check that when I get off the bike in a minute. Anyway, in hot weather like this, look at this amazing view, by the way. We're just 30 miles from central London, and here in the Chilterns we have these sort of views, absolutely cracking. So yeah, as well as the best jacket, I tend to, in hot weather, wear jeans as well, riding jeans. You've seen my riding jeans many times, so I won't talk about those anymore. But what you haven't seen are these boots. I'll show you them in more detail. These are from Falco, and they're kind of mesh boots as well. And again, got all the right protections. I'll talk about them in more detail when I do the off-bike bit. So yeah, so mesh boots, mesh jacket. I've got my TMF base layer on. It just helps your arms slip into the jackets easier. And that's about it. And on a day like this, as I say, a 30-degree plus day, I'm absolutely fine. In fact, moving along here, I'm only doing like 30 miles an hour down this back road, and I'm as comfortable as you like in terms of temperature. We do like to chat about weather, don't we, Blighty, us Brits here in Blighty, and it's either too cold or too hot to ride. It's a funny old world, isn't it? But I try and ride in all weathers. I am a believer of that thing that, you know, outdoorsy types say that there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad kit. And if you do have the right kit, it goes a long way to making you much more comfortable in these different extremes of temperature that we can now get here in Blighty, and it seems like we're going to get more so As I just gave her a nod on a bicycle. It seems like it's going to get more so now with global warming seemingly definitely taking a hold. All the science is pointing that it's definitely happening, and you know, the evidence of the fires and things we've seen more and more of in hot countries. I was talking to my mate Lyndon at Toro Adventure recently, and he's based in Arenal Grande down near Malaga in Spain, and they've had to stop their bike tours temporarily because of fires around the area. Luckily so far here in Blighty we don't have a forest fire issue, but certainly in Mediterranean countries this year that has been a big deal. So the other change I've made for my riding today in terms of kit is I'm not wearing my neck buff. Now normally I do wear a neck buff even in the summer, because I've learnt the hard way, sometimes you get things like wasps or flies that can whack into your neck, and obviously the neck buff helps protect you. But when it's really, really hot like today, then I just thought, blow it, I'm not going to do the neck buff. But I do recommend you wear a neck buff whenever you can, really, for that reason, for stopping flies and stuff banging on your neck. And if you do get a wasp or a bee or something, it can be quite painful as well. Blimey, this road surface is terrible. Alright, let me show you this kit in more detail then. Oh, check out the Speed Twin. What a beauty, isn't she? On a day like today, riding around these lanes, this is exactly the sort of motorcycle you need. An absolute beauty. Anyway, I said I'd take you through the kit that I'm wearing and just give you a bit more detail about how I kit myself out in the summer. I found myself a little shady spot down here. We'll go through it over here because it is, as I say, extremely hot today. Oh, let's start off with a quick update on my Schuberth helmet, the C5, which I made a bit of a video on the last vlog, in fact, on the Royal Enfield. It was all about the C5 here. Just wanted to show you that I've added the comms on here now. It looks like this. This is a little controller, and then the battery goes on the back there. I'm not going to show you right at the back because I've got some phone numbers and things on the back there for emergency contacts. But it's a very neat installation, as you can see. One of the things I love about it is the microphone. Hang on a sec. There you go. Had to flip up using two hands. So yeah, the microphone, look, is a really neat installation. It just goes on here. So that's really neat. And yeah, it's actually made by Senna. I think the Schuberth variety is called the SC3. In fact, I've got the details in my pocket. Let me get them out so I don't make an error. Just waiting for a light aircraft to go over. Quite noisy, but not that I'm complaining, of course. Right, there it goes. Yeah, so where were we? The comms on the Schuberth. So it's not called the SC3, actually. It's called the SC2. I'm sure they'll come out with an SC3 next year. You never know. It's a really neat installation, as I say. In terms of cost, obviously you've got to buy it specific to the Schuberth C5 helmet that I'm loving, by the way. And it comes in at £349.99. So it's 350 quid extra. So it suddenly becomes, you know, quite an expensive helmet. But as integrated comms go, it's brilliant because it does look neat and it just works with the helmet. Took a little bit of getting used to the control of it, but once I sussed it, it was fine. Battery life is incredible. It runs for something like 2 days on standby, and I've actually used it quite a lot when Mrs. Flara's been on the back of the bike. It's got all the latest mesh technology, all sorts of Bluetooth bits and pieces. I don't tend to use it for listening to music and stuff like that. I tend to use it just as an intercom, but it's been really, really good. So that's the first edition of kit. Nothing to do with summer really, but I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update on how I'm getting on with the C5, which is brilliant. As far as my kit is concerned, this is the jacket I was telling you about. In fact, maybe I should mount you on the bike to show you the jacket. Hang on a second. Right, so the jacket then, here we go. This is what it looks like. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. Obviously it's very meshy, and as I mentioned before, it's CE approved both in all the armour as well as for abrasion resistant, and that's pretty unusual. It comes with a waterproof cover as well, so perfect for touring, and £179.99 if you want one of these. I'll put links below to Bike Ahead so you can find your local stockist, and I'll also put links to Sports Bike Shop if you want to buy one online. That's where I tend to go for my kit. They're just great with their service as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so that's the jacket. I don't think there's anything else to say about that. That's got reflective bits on it as well, of course, and lots of pockets, which I quite like. So it really is good in these really hot weathers like we're experiencing at the moment. Underneath the jacket, I mentioned I've got my base layer. This is my TMF base layer, which you can get from my website. If you've not been there, it's at www.themistenandflyer.com. And these are just £18.99. I've got several of these. This is actually the one in blue, although it might look quite black in this light. They're just made of very thin material, and it just helps wick the sweat away. So these are absolutely excellent. Again, on a hot day, rather than having a cotton t-shirt that gets all clammy and it's difficult to get your arms in and out your jacket, if you have one of these with the long arms, these are quite kind of slippery to put on. So
it just works a treat. So I've got a few of these, and as I say, go to my website, check those out. £18 for one of these base layers. They're excellent. And then last but not least on this little fashion segment, let's talk about my boots. These are the Falco Air Force, and these are kind of mesh boots as well. They've got D3O armour and insert, so even though they look like street boots, which they are, and they're comfortable on and off the bike, and I wear them as a day-to-day sort of training shoe, well, not training shoe, but just a day-to-day shoe, they are actually protective on the bike as well, and they really do, the mesh really does let in the airflow. Let me show you these. Check that out. It's a bit messy because I've worn them quite a lot, but I think they're pretty stylish, and as I say, you can wear them on and off the bike. They've got a gear change pad, plenty of mesh, and this rubber sole as well, and they're, as I say, D3O protective, so you can't really go wrong with those. I'll check the price for you. 115 quid for the Air Force boots as well. As I say, comfy on and off the bike. They've got reflective pads on them as well, I forgot to mention that, but anyway, there we go. That's the kit I'm wearing for summer. It works for me. Oh, forgot to say just before we jump back on the bike, those links that I put below to Sports Bike Shop, those are what are called affiliate links. So if you click on those, I do get a little bit of a kickback, but at no extra cost to you, so you will be helping out the channel if you use those. But yeah, just for full transparency, that's what that's all about. Right, back on the bike.
So welcome back aboard. Yeah, I mean, it's a pain, isn't it, that you have to have different types of kit for different weather conditions. That seems to be the case in lots of my hobbies. I'm a keen skier as well, and so of course I need separate kit for that. Then there's me flying, I need different kit for that. It's all part of it, I guess, but yeah, annoying with motorcycling that you need kit for all types of weather conditions. I mean, if you can afford it, then I think you need hot weather gear, very cold weather gear, and a sort of middling set as well, if you're in a country like Blighty with a so-called temperate climate, because we do, although we don't get terrible extremes, it can go as cold as, say, -8, -10 in the winter. Rarely, but it can do. Hello, some walkers. Hello. And in the summer like this is an extreme heat wave we're going through at the moment. As I say, tomorrow, potentially 40 degrees centigrade, which has never been heard of here in Blighty. Just crazyville. It's great to be out on the Speed Twin again, and I see Triumph have made a few changes to their lineup of late. They've renamed the Street Twin the Speed Twin 900, and they've renamed the Street Scrambler, I think, the Scrambler 900, which I think is a good move. It just makes more logical sense from a marketing point of view to have all the naming conventions kind of similar. They've obviously got the bigger bikes as well with similar names, but it just makes more sense now. Let's let this so-called Mini go by. Minis aren't small anymore, are they? So good move by Triumph, that, I think. And they brought out a few new paint schemes a couple of months ago as well. I'm always moaning about Triumph paint schemes, so and I think I mentioned it in recent bike news, but good news that Triumph are listening to their customers. It does. I am a Triumph fanboy, of course. I'm on a Triumph, and I'm always talking about Triumph bikes. One of the things that I do like about them as a manufacturer is they do seem to listen to customer feedback. I'm waving at everybody today. I must be in a good mood. And we all moaned about lack of colours, and now we've got some more colours, for example. Not loads of colours, and not on all the bikes, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. So thumbs up to Triumph for that. Looking forward to seeing what they come out with these new off-road bikes that they've been teasing us with for so long. That's one of the things I don't like about Triumph, is they do tease us with these things. So there was that electric bike, wasn't there, the TE1 prototype that we all thought they were developing to sell. They come up, you know, they tease us with it for months. They then show us the final bike and it looks amazing, like a futuristic speed triple, and everything about it seems great. And they tell us, actually, we've learnt from this that we can't make it cheap enough to sell it at a reasonable price, so we're not going to make it. How disappointing is that? Of all the electric bikes I've seen, that TE1 prototype was probably definitely my favourite looking. And again, it being a Triumph just added it to me, and they were talking about early on it was going to have a fast charge time, be lightweight and be a good price. Well, they seem to got the fast charge and the lightweight right, but they don't seem to be able to get the price right. And if you don't get those three things, they just ain't going to compete, are they, with internal combustion bikes? So that was really disappointing. So yeah, so they tempted us with that for ages and then basically withdrew it. And then the other thing is these off-road bikes that I mentioned. They've been telling us about those for, it seems like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now. And they recently bought that child's off-road bike company, didn't they? Osset, to obviously get some technology and a bit of don't know, maybe coverage across the range for electric and off-road bikes. So they're definitely doing something in that area. Oh, that was the other thing they teased us with, wasn't it, a few years ago? Do you remember they told us they were going to build a small capacity bike for the Asian market? I think it was like a 250 triple or something. And again, we saw some pictures of spy shots of what looked like retro small capacity bikes and got all excited about them as well, because I think they would fly off the shelves in this country if they were priced right, priced to compete with things like the Interceptor and the BSA Gold Star. I think they would have flown off the shelves, but there we go, they didn't come to the fruition either. A real shame. Well, I hope you can see me okay. I'm wondering about why this screen has gone blank. Could it be because it's bright, although we're now under trees, so I doubt it. Or have I just got a setting set up somewhere funny? If you know, let me know, and I'll check that out. I will go through the settings again later on. See, the one on my camera hasn't, I can't see the picture on this one, and nor do I need to see it. This one has stayed on. Why has that gone off? I'm now worried that I've bought a Duff GoPro 10. How annoying. Anyway, I hope you've been keeping well. I'll be very interested to hear your approach to riding in hot weather. Do you do anything different to what I do? You got any hints and tips for all of us as to how to keep cool? I suppose the other thing to definitely say on days like this is key is hydration. So, you know, don't ride for more than half an hour without stopping and having a sip of water, because riding bikes is quite a physical thing, isn't it? Much more so than being sat in a car, particularly if it's air conditioned. And at these sort of temperatures your body does struggle to keep cool, so hydration is key. Also, if you're hydrated, it keeps your concentration up, so it's also a safety angle as well as a sort of health angle. Anyway, there we go. That's the so-called Pedner loop. Hope you enjoyed that little video. I've been told that these vlogs go down quite well, so if you want more of these vlog type stuff, let me know and I'll keep doing them. I love making them, especially on days like this. Look at it, it's absolutely cracking. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. So until next time, this has been the Mr. Flyer. Cheerio. Wee, Bentley alert. Maybe he came from Grimshill too.